Good morning or afternoon or evening from wherever you are around the world as you may tune in here. This is David Anderson coming to you live. We are at Twin Ring Motegi and we are qualifying for the Porsche Cup Series here at CMS. We're riding along with Warren McGrary, getting right to the action this morning. Warren in a beautiful Kodak car here. We're going to see what kind of a lap time he puts on the board. Everybody is out doing their qualifying as I came onto the air. And we are ready for another super exciting and what will be a fun um, Porsche Cup race in our iRacing Team Endurance Series supports chapter. It feels like it's been a little while since we've been out here. There's been a lot of different racing going on, but this is round 5 of 8 in the season, and this is the official kickoff as we get ready for the IRTES event here, iRacing Team Endurance Series, 2 weeks from now on this same track. So yeah, exciting. Super excited about all of this. Got a really solid points battle happening in the series. And it certainly has been fun to cover it. All right, let's see. It looks like Warren's going to come to the line here. He's the first car we're on with. I want to see what kind of a time he puts in. Warren in with a 58.7. Let's go to the top of the leaderboard where we're seeing some of our faster drivers. Michael Parker, who is currently our points leader. Here's Michael out on the track. Turned a 54.9 last time by. This is the fastest lap so far of the race. And he is on his second of 2 laps. Everybody gets 2 laps here. Ride along a little bit with Michael. As we come on board this morning for the series, kind of a quick update on the championship. We do have this gentleman who we're riding along with, Michael Parker, is our leader in the points, but he has only a narrow 2-point lead over Tristan Martz, who was our winner at Le Mans in such dramatic fashion, where he went from 4th to 1st with just a couple of corners left in the race. And so really a big momentum boost for Tristan. And Brian Cebulski is not far behind them. But beautiful track here, one that we don't race at a lot, so excited to cover this one today. Let's actually check in on Tristan Martz. Here is Tristan. He is currently in 4th position in the order, qualifying. Second man in the points. So important for him to get a good qualifying position. Blake Reynolds, just another driver that is always a contender for a win. Moving up the board here, currently in 2nd position. Let's see if he can move up to the pole. Looks like we have a new pole sitter, actually. Shane Hunter grabs the pole right at the end of the session there over Michael Parker. So that's going to be a new name up front. Shane making his first race with us this season, and qualifying is in. It went fast and furious, so about the time I came onto the air, they were already kind of deep into it. So we've got 15 drivers here today, and everyone will have a few minutes to kind of get ready before we get started, but I will give a quick rundown of kind of what the starting order is going to be today in the race. So we'll have Jacques Ricard in P15, Warren McGrary in P14, James Andrew in P13, Brian Sohn in P12, Joe Stifel P11, Gabriel Albano 10, the 3rd place man in the points, Brian Sabolinski, Sabelski. I just never can say your name right, Brian, and apologize for that. My heart's in the right place. But Brian will roll off P9. David Nelson with a strong qualifying in P8. Tristan Martz in P7. So again, Tristan, the second man in the points right now, and probably a little further back than he wanted to start today, but he could still do some damage from there. Mark Johnson in P6, Edward Nelson in P5, and then our front two rows will have Blake Reynolds in P4, Miguel Colon in P3, Michael Parker in P2, and then our pole sitter today will be Shane Hunter, and so that'll be exciting to see what he has to say and do here in this event. So I want to take a quick look here and see if Shane has been in a race. I don't think he has. We've had Shane Norton, another Shane that's been in some of the races. This is a first for Shane Hunter, so he'll be a driver that we'll certainly have to keep an eye on here this morning and see what he's able to do in the event, make a little bit of noise. We'll be using the iRacing baseline setup here. 30-minute race today. You're just kind of enjoying some of the sights and pictures here from this beautiful track. And here in a few minutes, we will grid up and go to qualifying. While we wait, I want to, of course, give a shout out to our title sponsor for the series, Penguin RC Simulation. Check them out, look them up. Have some great simulation racing products, wheels and adapters, and all kinds of fantastic accessories that you can use in your sim racing career. So definitely give them a look for sure. And we would not be able to bring the series to you if it was not for their tremendous help, support, and also the great prizes that they put up, make available for our drivers and teams. So it's just fantastic. And we definitely want to make sure that we are grateful that known. So, all right, we are getting ready to grid up. You can see the drivers coming out to the grid now. They're starting to take their rightful spots. Had to do a little bit of housekeeping there and turn off the audio from the drivers. Beautiful looking field here, setting behind the Porsche safety car. And a very colorful car that we see on your left there with Shane Norton. Excuse me, Shane Hunter. Of course, I said Norton because I was thinking of the other Shane that was in the races. Still shaking off a little cobwebs this morning from the Le Mans 24 hours. So thank you for your patience. One thing to note here, really, really hot track here in Sim. This is an mid-morning, early afternoon race in sim time. It's 118 degrees Fahrenheit on the track. So these Porsche Cup cars are going to be slick and sticky all at the same time. Tire wear is probably going to be an issue these guys are going to have to monitor, as well as just the car's going to want to slide around quite a bit as well. All right, we are rolling. Short parade lap, so the pace car will come in here before too long, and they will get gridded up 2x2. See Miguel Colon starting from P3, Blake Reynolds in P4. So some really Edward Nelson, Mark Johnson, 5th and 6th. Some really fast drivers. I feel like everyone back to about 7th, 8th position in this race on the grid out of 15 has an opportunity to win this race. And here they go. Miguel Colon going to take a peek out. Looks like he's going to try to make a move. Going down on Shane Hunter. Will he make it work? It looks like he will. Miguel Colon clears the field going into turn one. What a terrific start by Miguel Colon. He used that perfectly to his advantage by getting out there, knowing where he needed to be to make that corner. The corner, it's kind of two quick corners there in 1 and 2 that were to his favor. He had the line going in, and he jumps out from third position to first all the way in that first lap. Shane Hunter's got to be kicking himself. He falls all the way back to third on the start, and it looks like he's going to try to get that back on Michael Parker. Blake Reynolds behind them, and they are elbows out here on the first lap. We have found that, with these guys, especially the ones up front that are really quick, that whoever can get out front, it's almost Formula One style, has the best opportunity to win this race. And they're battling here. You can see Parker and Hunter have gone back a couple of times, and all that has done is allow Miguel Colon to just check out on him here. Looks like Blake Reynolds is going to take a peek on the inside of Shane. Can't quite have enough room. See Miguel Colon there in the forefront. Here's a top-down view. See, he's already built a pretty good lead here. Goes the field again in, and we'll complete the first lap. So this is our best racing rider, and looks like Blake Reynolds again is going to try to make a move. Can't quite make it happen. That's Edward Nelson in the 96 car in P5, the all-gray car behind him. Mark Johnson in P6. Really clean start. Everyone, I don't really have anything to report as far as anyone having trouble, so all 15 cars, to their credit, out on a great start to the race here, and boy, we are tight up front. Edward Nelson now looks like he's under a little bit of pressure from Mark Johnson. Mark looking to maybe make a move up to that 5th position. They've kind of settled in single file just ahead of him. Let's ride on board with Mark here for a little bit and watch this kind of unfold. You can see Miguel Colon all the way out there in the head, in the lead, and then that's second, third, and fourth. Oh, Edward Nelson is around. Going to lose a ton of positions, and Mark Johnson gets by him. Let's go back and watch this. Oh, just pushing, and we talked about it being hot and greasy out here, and what a disappointment there for Edward Nelson. That's going to fall him all the way back to the end of the line. The final car goes by, and he will be last. Well, as that was happening, Brian Sohn had an issue. Let's watch this. Just ahead of all this, he was coming around and just kind of did a pirouette and hit the wall for Brian, unfortunately. Pounded the wall. And I've got to think that Brian's going to have to come in for repair there. So when Edward had his issue, Brian kind of went wide to miss that. Looks like Miguel Colon may have had an issue. Miguel Colon is off. And that's going to hand the lead to Michael Parker. Go back and watch it. Actually, before we do that, let's just get up front and see what's happening here. We've got a new leader in the race, Michael Parker. Shane Hunter behind him. Blake Reynolds close on the tail. That's our top 3. Mark Johnson has moved up to the 4th position, but I want to watch him what happened to Miguel Colon. We saw the accident in the back there that had happened, and Miguel just just wide off the track, didn't hit anything, but took a ride in the kitty litter there, and you could see him there in the background trying to recover. Lost the lead in about 5 or 6 positions in the process. I think Miguel may have had another issue. Oh no. It's gone from bad to worse for Miguel Colon. Got to think maybe there was some potential underbody damage when he went off into the sand there. And Miguel, in all sorts of trouble now, has dropped all the way back to 12th position. Meanwhile, up front, we've got a 3-car breakaway. You can see Mark Johnson in 4th behind this group. But Michael Parker, Shane Hunter, Blake Reynolds really benefiting from this. Tristan Martz is in 5th position, so Tristan having a solid run of his own, and he needs that to be able to stay in touch with Michael Parker in the championship. On board here with Blake Reynolds. Blake is one of the stable drivers for the Penguin RC Simulation race team. Also happens to be the title sponsor of our series. Really super guy from what I've been able to tell, and he is really pushing hard here on Shane Hunter to try to get this 2nd position. Just ride along with him here for a minute and enjoy this. And it's funny the way this works. Even though Shane is, out in front of Blake, as you can see ahead, the fact that he's having to defend and focus on Blake is allowing Michael Parker to just ever so gently move away and expand that gap. You can see that Parker's put kind of another couple of car lengths between him and the other two. And I'm getting a report that Tristan Martz has had an issue. Here's Tristan. Certainly don't want him to have trouble. Oh, this is just like Miguel Colon. Off that tight corner at the end of the track in Sector 3, Tristan does a good job of keeping it off the wall, but certainly not going to help him. That moves him back to 9th position. Here he is live, going again. But it's twice now that we've seen drivers have some trouble in that particular corner. Great drone view we have here of the top 3. See, Blake Reynolds has now fallen back just a little bit of the top 2. And Michael Parker not able to shake Shane Hunter. Shane Hunter working to try to close back up. as we're about a third of the way through the race, and that's a good time for us to do a field rundown. So let's start kind of from the back, work our way forward. So here's Brian Sohn. We saw that he had an issue, really hit the wall hard. Edward Nelson had come around, and then Brian kind of did a pirouette type move and was into the wall. Probably, I'm thinking, had to come into the pits for a fast repair. So he is a lap down, currently in 15th position. Jacques Regard in 14th position out on the track right now. We see Jacques. Um, Great to have him here. Love it when he joins the races with us. Longtime member of CMS. Been racing with us since the very, very early days of our iRacing chapter, and just love having him in these events. He is giving chase to Warren McCrary in P13. Warren in this just amazing looking Kodak car. The only thing we need to do to that car, Warren, is get a Penguin RC banner on it and the number plates so that it will match up with our series. And aside from that, it just looks terrific. Edward Nelson in P12. We saw Edward's issue. He started kind of near the front of the field, had some trouble, dropped all the way when he had that spin to the rear of the field. Miguel Colon just ahead of him also had all sorts of trouble. Did not end up having to come in for a fast repair. So let's take a look at Miguel's car. It does not appear to be damaged. So he seems to be okay. Just kind of a comedy of errors, which is uncharacteristic for him to happen there. So just ahead of him, in P10, this is David Nelson in the bright yellow Canary car, having a solid run. Tristan Martz ahead of him. Tristan, we saw, had some trouble in the same corner that Miguel Colon did. So pretty good little race here between Miguel, David Nelson, and Tristan. All these for position. Up a little bit further than them, you can see them coming around in the background is Brian Sabelski, and Brian in P8 has probably been our most consistent driver outside of Michael Parker and Tristan Martz in this series. Brian putting together a really, really strong season, currently third in the points. Really big battle up here from about 7th up to about 4th or 5th is nose to tail, and that is these drivers here. Gabriel Bono. So I'm just going to kind of cover them all at once here because you can see them all on the track. We've got Gabriel Brano, James Andrew trying to hold him off, Joe Stifel, and Mark Johnson. All of them here having a really, really good race, kind of for that 5th position being up for grabs. Currently held by Mark Johnson, but it looks like Joe Stifel is going to make a run for it now. And Joe Stifel is around Mark Johnson for P5. Terrific. These drivers find themselves about, looks like Mark Johnson might have some sort of a problem. Picked up a slowdown? But he had to let them all go. Bizarre. Got to think maybe he got a iRacing track cut type penalty of some sort. That has allowed Joe Stifel into that 5th position. And then back up front, the race is still really tight. Blake Reynolds has been able to kind of claw his way back into this thing. These are our top 3. I'm going to sit here and let you guys watch them for a minute. Let's just observe this, see if anybody makes a move. Parker is loving this going on behind him right now. So it's also worth noting that this is the 5th race of the season. Michael Parker has won 2 of the races so far, so he has definitely been the man to beat. He took wins at the season opener at Daytona and then also round 3 in Fuji Tristan Martz was our winner at Le Mans, and then DJ Alessandrini at Laguna Seca. And boy, it looks like Blake Reynolds has had enough here. He is ready to get around Shane Hunter. Every time he gets there, it looks like he kind of falls back a little bit. So I don't know if there's just a momentum thing going on or a little bit of inconsistency on Blake's part. But now they're spaced out about as much as they have been. It's 3.2 seconds from Parker to Reynolds. So they're all sort of single file. While this is going on, let's go back and check on our 4th, 5th, 6th place drivers. This is James Andrew that we ride along with now. James having a really, really good run here. One of his better runs of the season. James currently in 11th in the points. Has been in all 4 races. Ever so close. Joe Stifle just ahead of James, and I really feel like James is probably a little bit quicker. And the lap times would reflect that. His last lap was faster than Joe, and his fastest lap of the race has been faster than Joe. So I think that James is just a little bit quicker. This is our best race on the track right now, these two. As we ride along with James, also a shout out to him. We don't get an opportunity to talk about James just a whole lot, or we haven't had the ability to, and so I'll do a little of that now. James is a really, really key member of our community. He is one of the co-admins for the IRTES Endurance Series, so just invaluable with regards to his contributions there, and really a leader within the community. James is also the team principal for SimHQ Motorsports. Inherited that role from Doug Atkinson, and of course Doug, the pioneer behind the SimHQ Motorsports team, and also a CMS community member, someone we think highly of. But now the day-to-day of that operation is run by James. And I'll have to have James give us an update on whether or not he has kind of taken ownership of that. He may have, but I sort of liken it to the Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon relationship in NASCAR, where Rick has sort of groomed Jeff to kind of take over the Hendrick Motorsports operation, in totality at some point. So, but because of that, James stays really busy and he can't get out on the track as much as he would like to. I certainly know that feeling because I'm in a similar role as the team principal for Champion Motorsports and our endurance team efforts, as well as the admin and owner of the entire group. Kind of limits your track time, but when you get out here and you can have a top 5 run like he's having, you really, really enjoy the opportunity to do that. So we'll have to see if he can get up here and get into. He's already in a great spot in 5th position. Have to see if he can get up here and take it to Joe Stifle a little bit more and get into the lead. And every time it looks like now Blake Reynolds has gotten around Shane Hunter. So Shane must have had some sort of a bobble while we were talking about James Andrew, and Blake Reynolds now is around him and into 2nd position. So finds himself about a second and a half, 1.4 behind Michael Parker, and I want to ride along here with Blake. And we've seen this before. He was really charging at the end of the race at Fuji. Michael Parker had to kind of manage his gap to the best he could and hold him off. So we'll see which of these two drivers is quicker right now as we get into about 10 minutes left in the race. Oh boy, really, really loose. Look at the hands there. Wow, you can tell he's pushing. Lost a little bit of time in that. Oh boy, he's pushing too hard at this point. And knows that that's what he needs to do. And you can see we're getting an awesome shot here of him in the car trying to do this. And he lost about a second. He had it down to a second and a half, and has now lost about a second and a half to this man, Michael Parker. So really, really looking strong. Michael is going to go a long way here in this race if he can win it towards the championship. Still some races to go. We got 3 races to go, and he's going to need to make those races because you don't get drop points, but certainly is going to have a bead on this thing, I would think, kind of heading into next round at Spa. He's going to be able to kind of breathe a lot easier. And the reason for that is, let's take a look here at his 2 closest chasers. P8, Brian Sabelski here is in P8, and he is the 3rd man in the points, about 22 points behind Parker. And just behind him is Tristan Martz, who's having a disappointing race. He's kind of gone backwards in the race, but Tristan came into this race from his win at Le Mans only 2 points behind Michael. So he certainly had an opportunity to capitalize and just hadn't been able to do it, And this is an interesting track, if you didn't get the opportunity to put in prep, and this was a busy weekend motorsports-wise. A lot of people wanting to watch 24 Hours of Le Mans. Tristan could have fallen into that category where he just didn't get a whole lot of lap time, and could be turning some of his first laps out here on the track, right? So Miguel Colon behind them has the fastest lap of the race, but has just had a myriad of issues. Oh, and Brian Sabelski is off. Just overshot the corner there. We watched it. Take a look here again. This goes in a little deep here. Locks the brakes, which is so easy to do in these cars. Was able to get going, but lost 2 positions. That's how close these races are. They're super close. So, all right, we're coming to about 5 minutes left to go here. I want to do 2 things. Let's peek in on that battle for around 4th, 5th place. So let's see what's going on here. You've got Joe Stifle in 4th. He's still probably the closest race consistently on the track the last 10 or 15 minutes has been this one with Joe and James Andrew. James having a really, really solid run, as is Joe. And we love Joe's paint scheme, such a classic sports car livery there with the tiger stripes that he kind of took and put his own logos on as well. But this has been a really, really good battle. And also Gabriel Albano having a solid run. He has managed to hold off Mark Johnson. We're not sure what happened to Mark, but, no damage on the car, but had some sort of a slowdown or a reason where he had to drop and sort of give away the fifth position or fourth position in this group, and just has not been able to get back up where he was. So not sure what happened there, but the car looks okay. And then meanwhile up front, I think we got to pay a little attention here. Blake Reynolds has been able to get back up on his saddle and mount his horse again, and he has got it down to under a second to Michael Parker. And they're going to have maybe 2 laps to go here, I'm thinking. So we're going to stick with this here probably the rest of the way. Let's ride along with Blake and just kind of take it all in and enjoy it here for a minute as he gives chase to Michael Parker. About 3 minutes left in the race. Do not think they're going to get a white flag this time, so he's going to have 2 laps to work with here to see if he can't turn this into something. Now, very well could be that Parker is managing the gap. He's really good at that. He knows what he needs to do and just exactly what he needs to get out of the car to stay where he's at. So that's, the sign of a true pro. He knows exactly what sort of inputs to give his car. But boy, I tell you, Blake is there. Michael is been saving. He's going to have to stop, because he's got it down to about 4/10 here. He is on him now. He is on him. Starting to look. Last time by, Blake Reynolds' lap time was 9/10 of a second faster than Michael Parker. So Michael is in full-on defend mode here. And what's stressful for Parker is he wants to win the race. Obviously, both of these guys want to win the race. Blake has not had a win yet. Michael has had a couple of wins. But Michael cannot afford to tangle here with Blake, because that will let the guys that he's already kind of covered off, Martz and Sabelski, right back in things. And right now, he's threatening to kind of bury them in the championship. Minute and 20 seconds left. They will not get a white flag, or they will this next time by. They did not get a white flag last time by. I will make sure to update everyone on the battle between Joe Stifel, Gabriel Albano, James Andrew, Mark Johnson, which, by the way, Albano has gotten around James Andrew, so I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll call him at the line. But going to have to stick with this battle here the rest of the race. This is for the win here at Twin Ring Motegi, and we have got a barn burner here with these two. Will Blake go for the move? I'm sure he will. It's just a matter of where is he going to do it. We've got 30 seconds left on the counter. They're going to see a checkered flag this time by. Here he goes. He's going inside. He's looking inside. He's going to have the position. Side by side. Can he make it stick? Parker's going to have the position here on the inside. Blake has to get out of it. He's right back on him. Wow. Got Reynolds as the predator here. Parker just with ice in his veins, being cool and calm, collected. And deep into Sector 3. Kind of the old start-finish line area, or alternate start-finish line area. Michael's going to have to defend down here, down this long straightaway. They're going to be into this tight right-hander before they go into the bridge. Blake not close enough to lunge in there. All over him here, but there's a complicated set of corners coming up here. They've got to both get through here well. It's like almost like whoever gets through here better is probably going to have this thing. Here they come. Oh, Blake gets a little bit loose, a little bit of a wiggle. That might be just what Parker needed to get the win. And he does. Wow. Michael Parker taking the win. Let's go third place, Shane Hunter coming in. Here comes Joe Stifle in fourth position. And look at this battle here. James Andrew over Mark Johnson. Miguel Colon drives all the way back up to 7th. Gabriel Albano fell to 8th place at the end. Here's Tristan Martz coming across. Brian Sabelski, David Nelson, and Edward Nelson all coming across. And then still out on the track, a few corners to go here. We've got Warren McGarry, Jacques Ricard, and Brian Sohn. Here's McCrary. We'll go ahead and just ride with him here. Three drivers still to finish. All right, here comes McCrary. He will finish. Here comes Jacques Ricard. Call everybody on in. Two corners to go for Jacques. Comes to the finish. And then Brian Sohn, who had a lot of trouble. He takes the finish as well. And then here they come around. Michael Parker taking the win. What a terrific, terrific, terrific race. And holding off Blake Reynolds there, you see just behind him in the Penguin RC car by the narrowest of narrow margins. And a little bit of a bobble on Blake's part right there at the end that allowed Michael to get the win, and he is on his victory lap. But what a terrific race. Michael Parker in first place, Blake Reynolds in second, Shane Hunter comes home third, Joe Stifle in fourth, James Andrew fifth position, Mark Johnson sixth, Miguel Colon seventh, Gabriel Albano eighth, Tristan Martz ninth, Brian Sabelski in 10th to round out our top 10. What a terrific, terrific race. Really enjoyed bringing it to you and did not really expect that it would get that crazy right at the end of this thing, but boy, did it. And that's twice now that Parker has had to really, really hold off Reynolds. Two now that he's done that. So we'll see if we can bring Parker in here. I'm going to bring him in for an interview and see if he is able to talk to us. Michael.
Hey, David. How's it going?
Wow, you tell me. That was you had to be sweating it there at the end.
Oh, 100%. Blake, I already knew, like, as soon as he'd get behind me, he'd have the pace, at least looking at what he was doing in practice. So I was just hoping Shane could hold him up as long as possible.
Yeah, they had a, they swapped that position a couple of times. Miguel had trouble early, and that gave you the window you needed to jump on it. But yeah, he had a little bobble there, kind of last couple of corners, and that kind of gave it to you. But boy, it was. I
Yeah.
couldn't. I was wondering if you were managing the gap, or and doesn't sound like it necessarily. You'll have to tell me kind of what was going on there those last 2 or 3 laps.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't managing the gap. I just was losing front grip. It seemed like he was able to carry the speed because it seemed like his front tires are still with him. So whatever he was doing, I think he was probably just saving his tires for the end. He had a little bit left, but yeah, I was struggling for front grip, so I had to take tighter lines, and obviously that would sacrifice the exit. So that's where he was gaining his time, I think.
Yeah, he really he had fallen back a couple of times too, so just a little bit more inconsistency on his part. And for you, that has kind of been the story of the season so far, Michael. Is that number one, you've been really fast, you've been running up front, and number two, you've been consistently doing that with minimal mistakes. And I tell you what, that's your third win now in 5 races, so you got to be feeling pretty good about where you're sitting at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm pumped. I'm bummed about Lamar because that was a forced error that was unnecessary. It's just wish I could have finished a little better there, but yeah, I'm happy I could get away with the win here, fighting really really good competition. And yeah, it saw Miguel outbreak himself into T1, and I was like, man, he definitely would have been able to at least maintain that gap. I think we were doing close to the same lap times, at least the first 2 laps, but yeah, he got a great start. My start, I got a good start, but Miguel got a better start and kind of compromised my T1, T2 because of that. Because Shane and him were on the inside, and I had to give it up. So
Yeah, and it was interesting to see Shane. He kind of came out of nowhere. I think this was his first race with us, so another kind of a new competitor on the field that looks like he's going to be up there front with you guys. So definitely going to have, even though you're in the catbird seat here, you probably haven't realized this yet, but both Tristan Martz and Brian Sabelski, your two closest competitors in the championship, didn't have quite the race you did. Tristan was in ninth and Brian in 10th today, but so you definitely gapped them a little bit more in the championship, which will give you some breathing room running into Spa. But 3 races to go, still plenty of work to be done.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm excited for Spa. It's going to be another track that is going to test braking abilities. This one was extremely difficult because of all the, basically 90 or hairpin turns here. It's not. It was full concentration the entire time. I'm sure Blake will agree to that, and everyone else that was driving here,
Well, I tell you
especially.
what, yeah. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, no, especially in this high heat. Like that was something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's actually bring Blake in here and we'll talk to him together a little bit. See, because he's in the lobby. We'll see if he can get him in here and chat with
Oh,
him
cool.
about what was going on from his perspective. We'll give him a minute to see if he can join. But yeah, I was certainly impressed watching that. Blake, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, we've got you and Michael here together, and I thought I would we've been talking to Michael for a little bit, thought we'd bring you in there, and you're probably thinking one of these days I'm going to pass him at the end of one of these races.
Yeah, one of these days. I I streamed it, and Michael, you can go back and watch it. I was very frustrated with having to lose to you for a third time in a row. A lot of attrition for me this race, David. Unfortunately, I had 3 wheel disconnects. I lost my shifters and my buttons.
My
Uh,
goodness.
so luckily it was all on a straightaway. Like as I was shifting from like
Oh,
third to fourth. So I quickly just unplugged the USB, plugged it back in. It's right on my wheel deck. So
wow.
but yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just got a new rig, so some quirks to put in. This is actually my first race with it, technically. So glad I found that out before I joined anything more
More intense.
yeah, more intense. So,
Well,
but yeah,
that was pretty intense, and you did a remarkable job, and the two of you put on a great show there at the end. I was, for a little while there, I was looking at the fourth, fifth, sixth place battle, and then I had to get back up there and spin the due diligence with the two of you because it was getting awfully tight up there.
hmm yeah,
Yeah.
Michael. perfect defense. He did a perfect defense. Every time I went to hit the gas, he was still coasting, so I could not get a run off the corner.
Yeah, I honestly, if that wasn't the last lap, I think you would have had me because I had zero front grip. I don't know if you were running a more rear bias or something, but I could not keep up with you in the corner entry.
I just realized the front tires were cooking. The front end binds up. It tends
Yeah,
to be on these fixed setups, so I
yeah,
was just kind of backing it up and just letting the front do the work with a slow turn in I would brake earlier initially, but then I would just let off and keep the tires cool with less brake
yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, I think that I was telling David earlier. That's where you were getting me at the end. You were just managing tires a lot better because I was kind of trail braking into these corners, so that makes sense.
Well, guys, thank you both, and thanks for putting on a great show for us. Really, really enjoyed covering it, and I know that anybody that had the opportunity to watch really enjoyed it as well. And hopefully, the two of you will be able, once we post it, to go back and watch a little of it yourself. I was getting pretty excited calling it at the end on this end for sure.
Definitely, I had a awesome time, and thanks for Blake for being respectful, and hopefully I was the same to him. So yeah, it was awesome racing today.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you, Penguin RC Simulation. Obviously, great sponsor, great teammate, Brian. We almost lapped him. He did not have a good fare this week. So,
Yeah,
but he had fun, I'm sure.
he pounded the wall pretty hard, and absolutely, we want to thank Brian and Penguin RC and all of their support here in the series. Well, gents, I'm going to talk to Shane Hunter and Joe Steifel before we wrap up. But congrats again to both of you. You're putting on a great show for us, and can't wait to see you do it again at Spa.
Yep, thank you.
Definitely, thanks, David. Appreciate it.
All right, let me see if I can put in Shane Hunter. Shane, do you have a copy?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I sure do. Boy, you burst onto the scenes here in the Porsche Cup series, kind of taking the pole there and making a little statement. Tell us about you and how you found the series, and welcome and all those things.
Well, we'll talk about, I guess, how I found the series first. I race in a separate league, and a buddy from that league has been GT3 racing with you guys, and he said over the summer he's been doing coaching with me and got me set up with you guys, and I'm about to start the GT3 season. And when I got on board, I looked around and I'm like, "Ooh, you guys have a P Cup series?" And I'm sure lots of guys that run the P Cup know how frustrating official can be sometimes in iRacing, and it's one of my favorite cars in the sim. I just love driving it.
Yeah,
Raw
well,
and sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, we're glad you found it here, and we're excited to have you in the series, and still a few races left in the season, so you have the opportunity to come in and make as much noise as you possibly can.
Yeah, that let's not read too much into that. I kind of went out in the practice. I didn't have a chance to do any practice until actually today, and I was waiting for Le Mans to finish, as I'm sure most of us were. Watched the end of that, and I jumped into practice, and I'm like, I don't want to be a top 5 car. I don't want to come in and make. I just want to come in, get to know the guys, learn the series. Don't want to make any noise, and then my Q lap, my first one, it was just terrible. Blew 3 corners, and I was just like, okay, let's just set the other one up. And then I come across the line for my second Q, and it's like P1. I'm like, no. I read the briefing, but I could have missed something, and I was super concerned I was going to jump the start. And so I just wanted to stay clean, not hit anybody, have a good race. And I mean, Michael and I think Blake. Sorry if I get the
Yeah,
names
no, that's
wrong, but
correct. Yeah.
they ran. Man, Michael put on a show of how to maintain the car. He warmed up his tires beautifully. Like, was like, why is he braking so? And then I'm like, oh, this is what he's doing. And then my crew chief told me it was 51 degrees Celsius track temp. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, and that was totally my mistake. I drive these cars with a little bit more wiggle than some guys, and it works on some places, but not when the track temp is hot.
Yeah, and it was definitely
It was a cooker.
heated up out there. It was for sure. Well, I'm super excited to have you, and glad that you're going to be racing in our GT3 series as well. And you and your buddy will have to pair up and consider getting into our flagship series as well, which is the iRacing Team Endurance Series too. So not too late to join that. We're starting the second half of the season, and would love to see you guys there as well. And welcome to the group.
Yeah, thanks again. Thanks for having me, and thanks to Michael and Blake for racing hard and racing clean. That's it's nice to drive a pickup car and not worry about someone driving into the side of your door taking you out just because they need the position. So I like what I'm seeing so far, and the communication I've had with you on Discord and a few of the other admins, and just even the guys talking about Le Mans today is really cool to see. So it looks like it's going to be a fun group to get involved with.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you're here, and have a great rest of your Sunday. And thanks for stopping by to talk to me.
Awesome. Thanks, David.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, I've got one more to bring in here. That is Joe Stifle.
Hey, David.
Joe, wow, what a great race.
Yeah, I'll say.
And thanks for being patient to wait to talk to me here. But yeah, tell me about it. It was looked like James Andrew and Mark Johnson, and I don't know if you know what happened to Mark, but he kind of like pulled over, and I don't know what was going on there. But you guys had a really strong race going on. You and James for sure for a while, and you looked like you were able to hold him off at the end.
Yeah, I think a lot of things going on IRL, so didn't have a lot of time to practice, but I wanted to get in and race with everyone here at CMS. We love the different series and everything, and of course Gabriel Abano and Ed Nelson. We were on together, and they had a lot more pace than I did to start, and Ed threw down some great stuff in qualifying, and Gabriel bumped me, and I honestly thought, I was really tentative in qualifying. I just thought, let me put in a good lap, and they weren't great laps, just real tentative. But I thought because of the track temperatures and how sketchy the car is on the first two laps, I thought, well, I'm going to make up a couple spots, I think, on lap one by people going off. And
Yeah.
when the green flag dropped, there was an opportunity to go a little bit down the inside, not too aggressive, because some people get they see that green flag in that first turn and they go for goal. I didn't want to do that, but there was some opportunity there. Had some great racing, and I think I was just surprised to be where I was. I kind of felt like I was holding up Gabriel, and then Ed had a little bit of a spin kind of early on, but I found myself behind Mark, and we kind of came out of the one turn, and Mark was a little wide and slowed a little bit, and I got on comms and just said, go ahead, Mark, because obviously he had a lot more pace from qualifying, and there's no reason to do that. But we stayed right together, and it was good, clean stuff, and I think maybe he was having some tire issues, and he did pull off to the right a little bit going on to that back start finish. So not sure what was going on there, but it was a lot of fun being behind him, and it was a lot tougher. I just was, when the track temp kept going up, I thought, well, this is great for the slow guys because I already know how to go slow at this track, so that's going to help me. So it was really just about hitting the brake markers and try not to go too fast. So I really enjoyed the race, and I know some people, Gabriel, in that last white flag lap had some some troubles. He was a little defeated on that, but he had a lot more pace, and without him, I probably wouldn't have been up front. And everybody's always chasing Ed, so.
Yeah, for sure. And Ed unfortunately had a little trouble at the beginning of the race where he kind of had a spin and fell to the rear of the field and then had to make up the time the rest of the way. But certainly enjoyed watching you out there, and were nice and steady, and that's what it takes in these cars. And just another solid run. And quietly here you got the opportunity to maybe even as soon as today, when we calculate the points, to move up close to the top 5. So having having a really solid season, Joe, and I believe you missed a race too, so doing quite well.
Yeah, and hopefully I don't miss any more races because of the real racing stuff. But honestly, I don't even know where I am in the points. It's just we really enjoy racing in all the CMS races, but we really have been enjoying the Cup races. Everybody's been really good racing. I watched a little bit of the replay, and the guys up front on that start, that was some good clean racing. I thought everybody raced. It was fun to watch. Just on the replay, everybody gave each other room, but they were close and they were competitive. So that's the kudos to this particular Cup series. There's a lot of passing, but it's good passing. And it's not argy bargy. So I've really enjoyed it. And I know I'll speak for Gabriel and Ed. They enjoy it too, and big ups to them for helping me.
Well, that's just terrific, and that's what we're aiming for here, is for everybody to have fun, have some good competition, have a great time, and feel comfortable. And we're just ecstatic to have all three of you guys here. And the 2 or 3 times I've had the opportunity to talk to you, Joe, I've really enjoyed it. And thanks for all your support, and hope to continue to see you run well. And hopefully we'll get you a win before too long. Just keep at it.
Well, I don't know. I never thought that I would be on the broadcast again, let alone win. I'm just happy I'm happy to enjoy the broadcasts that you put out. I think they're great. They're fun to watch. And you get everybody in there and the drivers. So for those of us at home watching, playing at home, we appreciate what you do.
Yeah, well, thanks, Joe. Well, have a good rest of your day, and look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, David, have a great weekend.
You too. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. There's a couple of things that I want to see if I can go back on before we go off the air briefly. I'm going to see if I can do that now. Let's take a look at Gabriel Albano here. He had an issue right at the end of the race. You could see him hitting the wall here and lost quite a few positions when this happened. So you heard Joe talk about that, and that's the one thing I wanted to come back and maybe talk a little bit about. Was what happened to Albano there at the end. So just kind of pushing for position there at the end, went off, got into the grass, and lost a couple positions. But that happens. Those types of things happen, and that's the one thing I wanted to report on. So we'll get the points updated. We'll be at Spa for our next race, and that will be on July 9th. So make sure you tune in for that. Mark your calendars. Hopefully we'll have another phenomenal race. And 2 weeks from today, on the 25th of June, we will have the IRTES iRacing Team Endurance Series race right here at this same track at Fuji, and we cannot wait to bring that to you. So again, want to thank our folks at Penguin RC Simulation. We want to thank everyone who raced today, all of the great members of Champion Motorsports for everything they do to support us, and wouldn't be possible without all the drivers and community members. And for now, I will sign off. We got another Porsche Cup race here in the books, and thank you all for tuning in, and have a great rest of your weekend. Till next time, we'll see you on the track.